You have been carrying something heavy for a very long time, even if no one ever named it. It shows up in the way you think before you speak, in the way you scan a room for what might go wrong, in the way your body stays slightly tense even when nothing is happening. You might look at people your own age and feel a quiet distance from them, as if they're living in a softer, more forgiving version of the world. And somewhere inside you, there is the strange feeling that you skipped a chapter of life, that you became old before you were ever allowed to be young. Feeling older than your age is not about years. It is about how early your nervous system had to grow up. When someone lives through emotional unpredictability, neglect, or constant pressure, the brain learns that the world is not a place to relax into. It becomes a place to monitor. Long before you understood what stress was, your body was already memorizing it. Your muscles learned to stay ready. Your thoughts learned to stay alert. Over time, this constant readiness becomes your personality, even though it was never who you truly were. There is a deep part of the mind that measures safety by how quiet things feel. For many people, childhood had enough emotional room to let their thoughts wander, to let boredom exist, to let joy arrive without needing to be defended. But when that space is missing, the mind replaces it with responsibility. You become the one who notices, who anticipates, who manages. Even when you are young, your inner world starts to feel structured, serious, and heavy. Not because you are wise, but because you had to be. This is why so many people who feel older than their age also feel tired in a way that sleep does not fix. It is not physical exhaustion. It is the exhaustion of constant internal vigilance. The mind has been scanning for danger, disappointment, or emotional shifts for so long that it no longer remembers how to turn that process off. When other people laugh easily or seem carefree, it can feel almost unreal, as if they are living in a different nervous system than yours. Memory also plays a quiet role in this. The brain does not store time the way a calendar does. It stores time as emotional weight. When your past holds a high concentration of intense moments, your mind stretches them out. A few difficult years can feel like decades. You look back and it seems as though you have already lived a very long life, even if your body is still young. The depth of what you have felt makes the timeline of your life feel older than it truly is. There is also something subtle that happens when someone learns too early that they cannot rely on others. They begin to rely on themselves in ways that look like maturity but feel like isolation. You become your own emotional support system, your own problem solver, your own source of stability. From the outside, this looks strong. On the inside, it feels like carrying a quiet loneliness that never fully leaves. That loneliness adds to the sense of age because it creates the feeling of having walked alone for a long time. The brain is shaped by what it repeatedly experiences. If it experiences uncertainty, it becomes analytical. If it experiences emotional distance, it becomes self-contained. If it experiences instability, it becomes controlled. Over time, these adaptations create a personality that feels older, more serious, more inward. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your mind learned that being gentle with the world was not safe. Even the way you think may feel older. You may notice patterns in people. You may sense shifts in energy before words are spoken. You may understand emotional undercurrents without needing them explained. This kind of awareness often grows in environments where you had to read the room to survive emotionally. It creates depth, but it also creates weight. And that weight gives the impression of having lived longer than you have. When someone feels older than their age, it is often because their inner world has been active for much longer than their outer life suggests. They have been processing, adapting, and enduring since a time when others were simply being. Their mind did not get to be idle. It had to be useful. And usefulness, when it starts too early, becomes indistinguishable from age. So the feeling that you are somehow out of sync with your generation is not an illusion. It is the echo of a nervous system that grew up too soon. a mind that learned about complexity before it learned about ease, and a heart that became careful before it became curious. You are not old in years. You are old in experience, in emotional mileage, in the quiet accumulation of moments that required you to be more than you were ready to be. And that is why, even now, you may feel as though you have already lived through something most people your age have not yet reached. Because in a very real psychological sense, you have. If any part of this felt like it was describing you, you don't have to say anything out loud. But leaving a small mark here lets others know they are not alone either.